Welcome to the very first episode of Broward Blueprint Podcast, where we dive deep into the future of Broward County with the leaders who are shaping its destiny. I'm your host, Will Candace, today, and I'm here with Josh Levy, Mayor of Hollywood, and my co-hosts, Krista Berry and Tony Cachenza. And they are both actually been here new in town since COVID. And I did that intentionally because I wanted to create a podcast for all the new residents moving to Broward County to share with them the culture and the history of Broward County, which me and Josh have kind of been a part of already, but you guys are new, and I wanted to get your fresh perspective. So let's just dive right into it. I wanted to tell a little bit about my history with Josh. Josh has been at the helm of Hollywood for the past 8 years, guiding the city through significant changes and developments. I first heard about Josh Levy through a coworker, Adam Gruber, at Menon Hotels. Now he's a commissioner, and back then he spoke very highly of Josh and told me Josh is going to be a transformational mayor. And I moved to Hollywood in 2018. I was a part-time resident in Hollywood Lakes, and I voted on his bond issue, which he put forth. And it was kind of controversial because he was asking people to pay more taxes. And back then, nobody wanted to pay more taxes. I guess nobody does. But we agreed to do this for a new police station, enhanced parks. And what was so smart about it was pre-COVID. You know what I mean? So now, like, the development's been booming in South Florida. Josh created all this infrastructure in advance of that, smartly, I might add. And he's just been a great leader, and I'm so thrilled that he's here with us today. And we are going to talk about a lot of different subjects. We're going to talk about marketing. We're going to talk about its image, and we're going to talk mainly about its future and its connection with Broward County and how all of us can come together and make it a better place to live. Welcome, Josh.
I love it, Will. Thank you so much. Really happy to be here. Looking forward to the Broward Blueprint.
Great. Thank you so much, Josh. Why don't you start out by telling us what are your accomplishments you're most proud of? I would say one of the biggest accomplishments was winning Best Beach. TripAdvisor 2024.
Number 4 in the country.
And
we would say number 1, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, we're gunning for number 1, Sarasota. Watch out, right? I mean,
yeah.
No, it was 2 beaches in Hawaii, Siesta Key, which is a constant winner nationally, and then Hollywood Beach.
Okay.
So we're really honored to be in that top 5 of TripAdvisor. It's all reviews driven, and it really shows you that people love Hollywood Beach, and people nationally know about the beach.
Right. And they're starting to learn more about it, luckily.
That's why I moved here.
We all first met on the beach at the beach boot camp, and that's how we all sort of first met. And we love going to the beach, and the protocols on the beach are absolutely incredible, like how you keep the sand is so clean, and you've been doing a great job. And you have all these new initiatives to paint the buildings, and the Hollywood Beach Resort is going to be renovated. A lot of exciting things going on. So we're very excited for you and the future. Can you tell us more about what you have envisioned for the future for the next 4 years for Hollywood?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, Will, you asked about some of the accomplishments because they kind of lead into where we're going to be in the future. And when I was first elected mayor, my proposal to our residents was together we can do great things. Knowing that when we come together, we can really accomplish so much as a city. And we've done that. I think when you look at our, you mentioned the bond projects that are totally renewing almost all the parks in our city, new features, new pathways, new lighting. The golf courses are all getting done to world-class standards. These are things and investments that the voters, like you said, voted to approve when we proposed this to them. And public safety has always been a big, priority of mine, always. Actually, the topmost responsibility of a municipality, as municipalities are kind of codified in Florida law, is public safety. And so we're very proud of our Hollywood Police Department, great community policing initiative that's really caused the city to feel safe, be safe. And today our police department is better equipped and utilizes more technology than any time in its history to keep people safe and detect, prevent, deter and protect crime and people from crime. So lots of achievements in public safety. Affordable housing was another huge one. The cost of living in South Florida, we all know, is higher than it's ever been.
Right.
That's something that I recognized even before it became a hot topic after COVID and the rent started rising. We did a deal, we could talk about this later, a deal with Broward County that enabled us to utilize 25% of those beach dollars that maybe weren't necessary for Hollywood Beach that could be used elsewhere. I brought the county in and to invest those dollars into programs for our low to moderate income neighborhoods throughout the city, which in Hollywood it means 40% of the neighborhoods qualify for that.
Okay.
So things like new roofs, new impact windows, new doors, new driveways are all opportunities now that came out of that agreement. So lots of forward momentum across the board: public safety, affordable housing,
Right.
Environmental and sustainability initiatives, and those will all carry in the next 4 years to be amplified even more so.
I remember when with my neighbors, we were talking about the bond issue. One of the controversies was that the public safety, the neighbors were debating, saying we have the lowest crime rate in Florida, right? So it was, why do we need a new police headquarters? But again, I was telling Tony this. I felt like you were kind of visionary in the fact that you said we're growing as an urban area and public safety is a really high priority, and we don't want to outsource it to Broward Sheriff's Office, which other municipalities do, and they save money, I'm assuming, with this kind of partnership.
Well, I'll tell you, the police headquarters was built in the 1970s, and its infrastructure wasn't, serving the needs of today's modern police forces. Never mind that it didn't have enough space and had some issues as a building. But we utilize a lot of technology now. The Fusion Center, which connects all of the technology and the camera systems and license plate readers that we have deployed to amplify the reach of the police department, it is limited in the current building. It's not it built to hurricane standards, and you can't have your own police headquarters evacuated before a storm because you need that, police headquarters to be up and running, right?
Right.
So a lot of reasons to replace it. The voters approved it. It's the biggest ticket item of the bond, and now we're going to have a building that's going to serve the police department for the next 50 years. This is really all, like you said, forward-thinking investments. Right. Mm-hmm. People understanding that they're going to sacrifice and pay a little bit more money in their property taxes today.
Right.
We're talking $50, $100, $200, depending on the value of your house a year. Right. But that all goes toward, again, protecting Hollywood in the future. And it's an investment in our own public safety. It's not a gift to the police department.
Right.
It's a investment in our own safety that gets facilitated and run through the people working in that building.
Right. Now, golf courses, Josh, let's talk about golf courses as part of the bond program as well. The Hollywood Beach Golf Course, I saw they're working on that, and there was kind of a controversy about people who were upset about
too many controversies, right?
The trees being removed.
No controversies at all. Just people asking questions.
Yeah. So a lot of trees being removed over there. So a lot of residents I saw next door were very upset about that. And when I lived there too, a lot of the residents were. I mean, we've talked about, like you're talking about, the renovations are going to include a lot of lakes for the drainage problems, the flooding. Because when I lived there, I lived on Arthur Street and 14th, and I got flooded. That's the reason I moved. I sold my house. I got flooded out 3 times. My car floated away. Wow. It was just like, I said, as the future, I didn't want to continue putting up with that. So, but anyway, one of the neighbors' concerns was on the golf course was we would all walk our dogs at the sunset. And I guess they got to a certain point where the cities said that we don't want trespassing. They put all these signs, no trespassing. And I guess the residents felt like this is public property. Nobody's using it at night.
I don't know if those golfers are willing to tolerate the.
Oh, shit.
I didn't say it.
Okay.
But yeah, you can understand it. But look, the golf course is another one of those bond items that the voters approved. The Hollywood Beach Golf Course has like a legendary history,
right?
And we're actually bringing back in the new design some of the historical elements. Actually, President Harding back in the 1920s had visited and helped to cut the ribbon on that golf course. He was friends with our city founder, Joe Young.
Okay.
He invited him in, and actually Young Circle used to be named Harding Circle in honor of the president who was the friend of the city's founder.
Okay.
Some history there. But we're going to have a new clubhouse right on the corner of 17th and Polk across from the Cirque. It'll really tie the golf course in to the downtown a lot more, naturally than the way it was configured over time, after it was modified. But long story short, what you mentioned about the future and stormwater retention and stormwater management is a critical component of some of the benefits of us renovating this golf course, because we're not just doing it for people to play golf, which that's what they want to do.
Right.
We're also doing it to be a better stormwater utility, and in the way in which its new elevation and its lake system is going to tie into and complement the neighborhood. Okay. You mentioned about some streets flooding in the area of 14th and Arthur Street. There are capital improvement projects to help with that. Mm-hmm. But let's admit the facts on the ground. The facts on the ground are that the elevation of some of the neighborhoods it's not level. It dips a little bit. And if you live in that natural low point of the neighborhood, that never was complemented with a underground system to take water elsewhere, the result is standing water. Right. And so now we're pressed with redesigning, given the existing landscape, a stormwater management plan for the city's future. Right. And we have that in the new stormwater master plan.
Interesting. And you hired a resiliency director recently?
Yeah, actually for the first time ever, the city of Hollywood has a chief resiliency officer. It goes to show you that our focus now requires that every investment the city make really be evaluated through a resiliency mindset and standpoint. And that's the role of that resiliency officer. Yeah, that's the future. Resiliency is a big component of everything we do now.
Now, the Orangebrook Golf Course, I know and I don't know about Hollywood, but you're creating like a perimeter for people to walk around, so that kind of opens it up to the public more, because I guess the complaint on Hollywood Beach Golf Course was that it's elitist just to have this public space only for golfers during the day and not leave it at night where we could go walk our dogs.
So look, I'm not a golfer myself, and so I can understand the desire of people who don't golf to still want to enjoy the natural space that a golf course feels like.
Right.
But when you have golf balls flying around and they can hit someone in the head, there is some conflict between non-golf uses and golf. Putting that aside, I would just say that the Hollywood Beach Golf Course does have a new perimeter walkway. Right. Actually, FDOT helped us with it.
Okay.
There's a new perimeter sidewalk.
Okay.
And that's only going to get better with the new golf course design, with the way the golf course design transitions into the neighborhood.
Okay.
People didn't want a fence. They wanted it to feel open. And if we don't have trespassing issues and people tearing up the golf course just because they can get onto it,
right,
then we want to leave it as a natural extension and park-like feeling, as opposed to a fenced golf course. But you mentioned Orangebrook.
Yeah.
And one of the things and the features that the residents wanted when we took out the bond question on Orangebrook was that perimeter nature path,
right,
is what we call it. So it's going to have about 3 miles of walkway or bicycle way.
Okay.
And I'm really looking forward to, as someone who doesn't golf but wants to walk and ride his bike,
right,
to be able to have another route that doesn't have cars around it, that I can have a sufficient, sort of like distance to ride and enjoy, and it's going to have good natural features, and it's going to not have the conflict with the golf balls, the way the the golf course is being designed. So much to look forward to across the board.
And we're getting a hotel in Orangebrook too, right?
We are.
Yeah. How many rooms?
A golf resort hotel.
How many rooms?
I don't want to predict the exact number of rooms, but the pad is there.
Okay.
But let's expect that it'll be a complement to the golf course. One of the special things we have in Hollywood is we're situated, actually, the port, 70% of Port Everglades is situated within the city of Hollywood.
Okay.
So most of the millions of cruise passengers that we have the privilege of hosting here in South Florida, speaking of tourism,
right,
do embark on their cruise and disembark right in Hollywood.
Okay.
And so that's why you have a lot of these new hotels that are situated in Dania Beach and Hollywood Beach and Fort Lauderdale. They're all within a comfortable distance of the seaport. A lot of times people come in and they stay for a few days before their cruise or after the cruise.
Okay.
A lot of them like to golf.
Right.
And so it's a good natural competitive opportunity for our new golf course to have a resort hotel inside of it, because if you're a golfer and you're going on the cruise, you're going to choose that golf resort hotel so you can play a couple rounds of golf before or after your cruise. So competitively, what will make the golf course hotel different than any hotel along US 1 and Dania Beach, for example, is going to be this golf amenity that it has.
Right.
So it was a natural thing. We wanted the golf course to have its own driver of business rather than only relying on people discovering it or utilizing it from the local market. So I'm really excited about that component of it, and it's going to make it more successful. And we want to invite visitors here to Hollywood.
Okay.
Because look, when all is said and done, Hollywood is going to have a Jack Nicklaus designed golf course in Emerald Hills, a Reese Jones nationally acclaimed top golf designer in maybe golf history designer in Orangebrook, and Shell Bay is another whole story with $1 million buy-in for that private course.
Okay.
That has a famous designer as well. So we're going to be the golf capital of Broward County for sure.
Okay.
I would say rival for sure, Miami-Dade, and so we're gonna have these preeminent design golf courses that are going to maybe even be better and more acclaimed than even Palm Beach, I dare say.
Okay. We like that.
Challenge is on.
Okay.
The better, that's what they say, right?
Yep.
And also you have the Sunset Golf Course you're transforming into a park, which you secured financing. I saw
another bond
podcast.
project. The biggest green space purchase in the city's history. 45 acres. It's going to be a beautiful park. We are right now applying to the state of Florida for a matching grant.
Okay.
To take our $7.5 million in funding, hopefully match it, and have the first $15 million to improve most of the property into the vision that we have for this beautiful passive park. Okay. It's a long-term, another one of those long-term generational investments for the city.
Amazing. Absolutely.
And that'll have more bikeways and walkways and amenities for people. In the end, we're doing this because we want Hollywood to be a great place to live.
Right.
And I want people to get out of their apartment, to get out of their house and be able to enjoy the natural environment.
Right.
Because when you buy a house in a given city, it's not just I'm buying my 1,000 square feet or I'm renting my apartment for the square footage. I think what we have to offer is everything that comes with it, which is the parks that are in your vicinity, the beach that's within your vicinity, the restaurants that are in your vicinity.
Right.
You're kind of buying into a community.
Right.
And so I want it to be the best it can be.
It's great. That's why I live here. I bike everywhere, so I'm excited to hear that.
Well, listen, now that we were talking about sports and golfing, and all of us are into that. We all bike. We all like it. Let's talk about the bike path, Josh, on the Hollywood Beach. It's so amazing. It's the main reason I moved here instead of Palm Beach or Miami, to be honest with you. It's a bike. I swear.
Yeah.
It's the main thing. It's so incredible. But like, there are some complaints, and I'm not a complainer. You know that, Josh. But like, a lot of times the tourists weave into the bike lane, and a lot of the residents, some of them are Nazis, and they're like, whatever. Like, it's not
actual.
A lot of people aren't live and let live. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm a live and let live. I kind of like other tourists. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to ring my bell. But I can kind of see where there's a little bit of, it could be
a clash. Like, it's a conflict of pedestrians and bicyclists.
Yeah.
It's a transportation sort of clash, a mode of transportation clash.
You put the green, that was successful, right?
That looks great.
It took a long time, but it happened. And but maybe you could go a little further, Josh, and put those cones like we have on I-95, like the express lane. Not everywhere, but just like a few places, just to designate, so the tourists don't or the people that come on the weekend and they lounge there, and it's just like, and it seems to me that like, this is a very valuable. It's considered a Class A bike path. It's really not talked about.
Part of the Florida Nature Trail too.
It's not promoted by Visit Lauderdale, or it's not talked about like on your social media very much. But it's an incredible asset that's like that should be promoted more and should be cherished, I think. And it should be something that you, on your next 4 years. I know you're doing a lot of bike paths. And
we have a new bike master plan to connect the entire city through a more of a calm. Mode of and collection of bike routes.
Right.
I want to be on that committee.
Not on the main roads, but on the side streets.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, that's awesome.
All leading to the beach, Broadwalk, bike path. Right.
Yeah.
But I love the bike path. Obviously, on the Broadwalk, it's like the one of the best activities you could do in Hollywood, and it's a unique. When you think of, and you've all have traveled like around the world,
right.
We do have something very special in Hollywood Beach. It rivals any destination around the world. Hollywood Beach can stand up to it.
Yeah.
But look, the layout of where pedestrians are and the bike path, and the beach being on the other side of the bike path, people walking to and from the beach need to cross the bike path.
Right.
And so, there is that natural, I would say conflict, but also responsibility of people to understand, there's a bike path there, and kind of be courteous, right? Bicyclists be courteous to people crossing, and people crossing be courteous to the bicyclists. So it requires that. And so from the bicyclist perspective, I think they need to yield to people crossing. Yeah. And look, people should also not linger on the bike path as well.
Right.
It's been a challenge to determine how to sort of help make people realize there's that that there's that area that you shouldn't sort of linger on because it's really for the bicycling. But again, it is in the way. I think we want to protect the natural feeling and look and layout of the place. So while the cones and the bollards would obviously designated more, it probably would take away from the natural, sort of aesthetic and landscape too much. So we have to find a different way of doing that.
Right.
And I think through signage on the pavement is the most passive way.
Right.
Yeah.
But if that's not good enough, actually today I was speaking with our deputy CRA director. We have some signage, some fun feeling signage that's going to tell bicyclists slow down. So imagine like you're on the light poles, it'll tell bicyclists keep slow or slow down.
Okay.
Because bicyclists shouldn't be going 30 miles an hour either.
That's what I was going to say. Speed limit.
So some places have put in a speed limit, but then, and the speed limit, honestly, if you're going to be totally safe, shouldn't be more than 10.
Totally. That's my problem.
And
They're too fast.
That's a light cruise.
Calm down.
That's a light cruise. So besides slowing down bicycles, the signage is also going to warn pedestrians that are leaving the beach, because that's where we can face them with a sign that says, look out for bikes.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we're going to do our best.
I thought there was some talk about putting some signs on the light poles too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's in the works.
Yeah, it is in the works.
Okay.
Sensitive issues, because people are very protective of the natural landscape. We don't want to clutter the beach with a bunch of signage that says don't do this, don't do that, and have a million signs on the beach either. But so we have to really be delicate with how we do it, and sometimes you'll have efforts that maybe aren't the most effective, and you have to continue tweaking until you find what you think is a happy and good result.
Have you been to Sarasota lately, Josh?
Not since I was a kid.
No. Okay. Well, they this great new bike path. Tony used to live there. Do you know the military trail? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Did you go on it?
That's such a woodsy trail. I mean, that goes on for miles and miles.
It's
and miles.
incredible, Josh. It's not on the ocean, okay, but it's like interior. It used to be on a railroad track, but they created like these different like bike fixing stations and like bike art or whatever. It's really, like it could be something that Hollywood could copy, and it was really something cool.
Yeah.
And me and Tony were talking about Sarasota, and I think Tampa is also. I was telling you, I watched this podcast in Tampa, and I think they're doing some interesting things with city planning and their CRA and stuff like that. So, for example, one of the things that they promote in Tampa that I think is smart is that they don't want any chain restaurants. They actually try to like put a moratorium on that, and they encourage. They're actually giving grants, city grants, to the local restaurateurs for them to create more local inspired spots, which I think is a pretty brilliant idea. Really.
Yeah, we in Hollywood are definitely very heavy on the locally owned restaurants, and I take a lot of pride in that. We have a selection of foods from around the world here, and a lot of them are single family owned, and operated restaurants. But you mentioned the bike paths.
Right.
I just do want to touch that. I think Miami Beach, honestly, with their beach walk, what they call, which now stretches all the way from their city limits at the north, at like the Surfside boundary at like 88th Street or whatever it is, all the way down to 5th Street and the park there and the pier. I take my kids there once in a while, and it's really beautiful what they've done.
Right.
And I get ideas as I visit other places.
It's narrow though. It's a little narrow, right there.
Oh, they redid it though. It's wider now.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
It's amazing. Will, you love it.
The Surfside all the way down.
From Surfside all the way down. The truth is, you can park at I think it's called 5th Street Park or whatever at Miami Beach, all the way to the south.
Okay.
At the Government Cut Inlet.
Yep.
Right.
Ride like 7 or 9 miles up Miami Beach's beach walk.
Okay.
And then you have to go around to the sidewalk on A1A for Collins Avenue for a small bit.
Okay.
But then you ride Surfside's Dune Beach path north, and then it connects to Bal Harbor's path, and you can go from the Hollover Inlet to the basic Government Cut Inlet all on a bicycle, like 11 miles without seeing a car in sight.
Wow. Well, I mentioned. I heard.
And I want the same for Broward County, by the way, and I'm working on it.
I heard at one of the meetings too. You were talking about the John Lloyd Park.
Exactly.
Right. Extending it.
Meisel
there.
Johnson State Park now.
Yeah, it's to extend the bike path, like a car-free sort of designated lane, kind of type of thing. Is that in the works?
Well, it's imagine like a crushed rock path that's identified.
Okay.
So there is a trail in the state park, except that it has a 1,000-foot segment that's missing between the south end of that trail at the park to the parking lot and the beach of Dania Beach.
Okay.
And so the park is in Hollywood.
Okay.
And Dania Beach has like literally just 200 feet of sand in its component.
Okay.
So I want to connect that trail. Basically, it's a trail extension from that to fill in that 1,000 feet so that people can either walk or bicycle all the way again north and connect, because that's where you can park. So, Hollywood's Broadwalk experience, Broadwalk, is about about 2 miles, 2 miles, and then of course you have Surf Road that goes all the way to Dania Beach.
Right.
So now imagine that you can continue on to the Port Everglades Inlet. And have a much longer experience and a much more natural experience because you're in the state park.
Right.
So I brought in our state representative, the park managers. Dania Beach is on board. We're on board. We actually led with the design, hiring the consultant, and now we're working on plans with the state park. And hopefully it will materialize. I'm really excited about that as far as again, improving those recreational opportunities for people
for the future.
Josh, are there ways? I'm new. Are there ways that folks that are residents or are avid bicyclists that they can get involved in this too? It sounds like you're doing a lot, but public input or volunteerism.
I'll admit that's probably something we ought to improve. And we did have some folks want to create like an ad hoc committee on that was supposed to participate in creating the bike master plan. And that's an effort that did, of course, involve input from the community, because I wanted each neighborhood to have its own like predetermined route. So if you wanted to ride around the neighborhood, no matter where you lived in Hollywood, I wanted like a route designated that was a safe loop. And imagine that you'd have 10 people wanting to ride their bike in the evening, in the neighborhood, and suddenly it became like 10 bicycles going down the same route. Suddenly it's a great, awesome, amazing feeling of this is our bikeway, and it's it's community building, and it's nothing's more beautiful than riding a bike. You'll probably nod to someone and like acknowledge and smile at them because you're both bike riding, right? So I wanted to have a loop for each neighborhood, and also then, of course, routes that would connect people to all the different destinations, whether it was shopping or recreation, downtown, the beach. But I really yearn for people that have a passion for bicycling to help push these initiatives forward, to help advertise them and give us ideas. So yeah, I think we might be like seeding the.
I've got ideas.
Krista's going to chair the board, everybody.
Now, Josh, let's talk about the boardwalk some more. Not the Broadwalk, the boardwalk.
Our founder called it the Broadwalk, so we have to stick with it.
I think from a marketing perspective, it would be smart for Hollywood to switch it to boardwalk. That's my opinion. It would be included in a lot of roundups and things like that, but that's just my expertise in marketing. But anyway, there's some rumors going around about the Seminole tribe might be taking over the Hollywood Beach Hotel. And
no, let me just put an end to that right now.
Not happening.
Not even a discussion.
Even a discussion. Well, because
I actually tried to pitch them back when the Costa Hotel was stuck in construction. Right. Like I'm talking, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. Okay. I wanted to see if they could salvage that project and actually, help. Rescue it because it stalled during construction. But they need everything next to the casino, and they unless there's a casino, they're not in there. They're not there. Okay. Well, John, and you can't do a casino on the beach. So
right. The reason I bring it up is that because they've opened up
they're in the gaming business.
Yeah, but they opened up a Hard Rock in Atlantic City. Are you familiar with that one?
I've heard about it.
Huge success. Yes. And
guitar or not?
No, not a guitar. But a huge success, and had a huge impact on the economy in Atlantic City. And also in Las Vegas, they opened a Hard Rock that's also very highly acclaimed, doing better than the Fountain Blue. And they're opening the Guitar Hotel in Las Vegas. But the point was that people were saying that they are exporting Broward County's success. They're very successful business people. They know what they're doing. Sure. And I'm just saying, like you said, we should be utilizing them more to do more things here, since they're such great operators.
So I completely agree. I think there's no better partner to have than the Seminole Tribe of Florida and the Hard Rock and what they've built with the Guitar Hotel that's advertised internationally as Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Hollywood, Florida, with the image of the Guitar Hotel. It's really helped to put us on the map. It's like we get free advertising, not only just because it's here, but because the Hard Rock brand helps to always carries forward the name of the city and the state or the country where it's at. It's Hard Rock Hotel, Maui, or Hard Rock Hotel, Hollywood, Florida. So I love that about, of course, our partners and our neighbors, the Seminole Tribe. I would love for them to have a hotel on the beach. Right. But so far they're invested in growing what they have on the reservation. Okay. And they have the legal opportunity now to build 3 more casinos on State Road 7 on this. Wow. Which, by the way, we're branding the 7.
I know that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to grab lunch on the 7. I'll be right back. It's a little more hip way.
That's how we say it in Cali.
The 7?
Yeah. The 1.
The 1? Okay, cool.
I say the 1.
Yeah. And it's got a long way to go. Just think of the opportunity that the 7 has, because it's aged, right? Okay, and a lot of property begs for renewal across the city, right? But the 7 included, and so I'm really excited about the Seminoles and what they're going to continue to do on the 7, because they're the biggest landowner on the 7.
Now, with the opening of the Disney cruise port at Port Everglades, I heard you in a meeting mention that you pitched them a hotel idea on the beach.
I did.
And no luck?
I need to get to a higher level executive, I think, because the idea is, to me, like way too good for them to pass up on. Right. And I'd love, the Disney brand to be on our beach. We have a very family-oriented beach.
Love Disney. Yeah.
Who better than Disney, right?
Yep.
And they have the Disney Cruise Line, like you said, is now has a home port at Port Everglades. And so for me, it was a very natural, I would think, a good business, direction for them is to keep their cruise passengers in a Disney, facility, in a Disney hotel, and have them jump from the Disney hotel on Hollywood Beach, and which, by the way, that property that I proposed to them on Scott Street also has a waterfront component. So imagine you could. The family could embark on their cruise through a ferry that could take them from the hotel on the water to the cruise.
Cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. But I do need to get to someone higher up that will have the vision. Okay. They might not be in the hotel business. They're in the theme park business and the cruise business. That's like I think the silo sort of mindset. But I think where they do have a cruise port in Port Canaveral, they do have a hotel there. I think because there were no hotels, so they needed something. Right. But because we have tens of thousands of rooms, they didn't see themselves as doing it. I shouldn't give up on the idea, right? I should continue
absolutely.
pitching it.
If anything, we've kind of like thought about, we were talking about our pre-meeting, we were like, they could put in some attractions on the boardwalk, right? Like a roller coaster or something.
I don't know. And then you're going to get a lot of tomatoes thrown at the city.
Then it would be a boardwalk, right? It would actually be a boardwalk.
Some would say it's enough of a circus right now, right?
Well, no, tourists stop me and ask me, like, where are the attractions? And I'm like, you're in it. This is it. You know?
It's me.
Yeah. Watch Krista rollerblade.
I'm making
She's
a TikTok for you.
It's you too, Will.
Right.
And we've got a lot of good people watching on the Broadwalk. We've got a good selection of.
It really is.
He's getting all the characters.
It is. It's characters in a community, really. Like you said, you can just wave to your friend on their bike in the morning, and you feel welcome.
All right, now we're gonna give you a hard time, Josh. Okay, so I was gonna warn you on this one. Okay, we're talking about events on the sand, beach events, and this is something that started under your tenure, which is the Savor South Florida Food Festival. And I know the initial intention was for it to be the local restaurants, and then COVID hit, and that kind of put a monkey wrench in. It's kind of struggling to gain its identity since then. But, it's got Publix as a sponsor. It's very liquor oriented. It's like to somebody like, I think like
people love liquor, Will.
Not me, not the boot camp crew. I
got you. I don't drink a lot either.
I'm just saying that I think that it could be your city spending $25,000 of taxpayer dollars giving this promoter, and there's certain events like the Halloween event I think is outstanding, stellar, worth whatever $50,000. But the Savor South Florida, I think it could be. You got the tent, but you don't have a good
So look,
branding.
So this is an awesome. I love the idea of a food festival on the sand, right? As you're walking on the sand in a big tent and food and wine, and it's a weekend, signature event. Savor started in Tampa and has a long-standing sort of a reputation of a great food and wine festival in Tampa. They came to us and we didn't have anything going on, and so of course we were excited to be the host of this event, which would have its own marketing and its own draw to a different set of people than the average beachgoer.
Okay.
So it wasn't really looking to get a bunch of people who live down the street. Mm-hmm. It was people who are paying $100 or whatever to attend a food and wine festival. And actually, I'll tell you, and yes, Publix is a sponsor because they have a lot of brands that they represent, and they want to give their brands value and helping introduce people to the brands that are sold at Publix. Mm-hmm. They are elevating their game some, right?
Okay.
But so it's a combination of I would say retail, food, and spirits, products. But at the same time, they also have made an effort to invite and include local restaurants. And I actually discovered Class Soiree Steakhouse, which is this really small, high-end steakhouse that I really never stepped into in downtown Hollywood, and I'm the mayor. And I discovered and had their sample, filet mignon, whatever they were, giving out as a sample. And I was in love with it. I went in and really made friends with the chef, Chef Ali, and I'd enjoyed the restaurant. So it does bring in local restaurateurs that you can discover there and actually then go visit their brick and mortar. But it's getting better and better, Will, every year. And I would say, give it a try, enjoy it. It's only a 2-day event. And in terms of the investment, it does bring in new people. Mm-hmm. They do book like about 100 room nights at our local hotels. Okay. There is a boost to the visitorship, mm-hmm. Other revenue that comes into the city from the visitorship, whether it's parking and what have you. Okay. And it's also got the marketing value because they're promoting Savor SoFlo at Hollywood Beach, around in the lead up through the Publix supermarket system is part of it. Mm-hmm. And that's all over Florida. So we're getting some marketing value of having us be the host city to this, regional South Florida event. So I would say that it's a good value and it's getting better as a festival. And sometimes you have to seed something mm-hmm. and help it grow and help it become better and be willing to take that leap. With no risk, there's no win.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, what was
Krista? Have you been, by the way?
I went this year.
What do you think?
I'm prior to moving here, I was a small business owner. I had a restaurant. And so I was thinking too, I wonder how, I had a great experience, but I was wondering how even this year it could be a subcommittee of folks that get some of the downtown small businesses involved, and maybe there's an incentive around a discount. I don't know if those things happened with that, but to do just exactly what you said, to also balance, to balance that, larger brand with also incentivizing some of the small, newer businesses. We got Block 40 pay?
Yep.
How can we just ensure in advance that
Right.
those folks are able and to afford and to be able to be there for that benefit?
Yeah, and it does, again, help us feature those restaurants, those mom and pop restaurants that we're proud of, like Soiree, at the food festival, and have people discover them. And it's enabled those chefs to be recognized, because there's part of it's a chef, competition that is hosted by one of the TV personalities in South Florida. So
Okay.
a lot of media coverage, and so
Right.
we get a lot of good PR from it.
Okay.
And also the organic,
Yep.
sort of recognition that our local restaurants get. And Tammy, who runs the event, really makes an effort to try to reach out to the local restaurants. It is an undertaking for them to participate. They have to bring their food,
Yes.
they have to prepare it, they have to be there, at the beach.
Right.
It removes them from the restaurant, so it's not an easy undertaking.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Well, now that we're still let's keep on the subject of the boardwalk and the beach. What about the Hollywood Beach Theater, Josh? I've been giving you a hard time for years.
So the band show, we love the band
Listen,
show, right?
let me have the floor here, Josh, for a second. All right, Margaritaville.
Live music 5 nights a week, everybody. 5 nights a week,
in a
like
shitty
nowhere
theater,
else.
in a
It's
piece of
free.
shit,
Like
though.
nowhere else.
In a piece of crap, though, Josh. Come on, let's be
I would
honest.
not go that far.
It's the landmark of Hollywood, and it's a disgrace, and it has been
Just
a
got
disgrace.
repainted.
It's got repainted the same exact colors, and the horrible, ugly mural is still there. Let me tell you, Josh,
It could be a lot more.
it could be. It should be torn
better.
down and start over.
Oh no.
Put a theater like you have like in
Have to
in Arts
disagree with
Park.
you on that one. That's like a historic landmark. But I will agree
Well,
that
treat
that
it like a jewel. You treat it like a piece of shit. Come on,
No.
let's be honest.
No,
it looks terrible, Josh. It looks terrible. It has for years.
So Will, have you seen it lately?
No, let me have the floor here. Okay, Margaritaville doesn't like me, Josh. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that. There was somebody that was in a meeting with them recently, a marketing meeting, and they were like, "Oh, you're renovating the theater because of Will Candace's videos?" They were like, "No, he's a troll on TikTok. We hate him." Okay, so I think that
How dare they call you
Are they in
that?
the marketing department?
I embrace it, Josh. I'm like, call me a troll. I like it. That's my
owning
nickname
it.
on the beach now, Will the Troll.
I never thought of you that way. Listen, Will, you want the beach to be the best it can be, and
Yeah.
you want the band shell, our centerpice, like you said, to be the best it could be.
Right.
So I think the magic there is keeping the historic, of course, the historic element that it is,
Right.
but making it through proper, embellishment and paint and pizzazz as bright and as contributing as it can be. And I know that the colors that were painted now are the same as before, that are sort of muted,
Right.
a muted blue and a muted like yellowish color.
Right.
I don't think they're the best colors.
Right.
When Margaritaville repaired the band shell and repainted it recently and just finished, it's not their imagination that leads to, let's just call it the reimagination of the colors and the murals. I think that has to come from us,
Right.
and you bringing this up and challenging the CRA board,
Right.
and our designers with what we're doing, like for the paint program,
Right.
to do the same thing for the bench shell. We should lead by example,
Right.
with those brighter colors and the more pop.
Right.
And so the challenge is on. I'm happy that you're challenging me with this.
Okay.
I want you to, maybe even come into the CRA board and say it publicly. Say, hey,
Yeah, okay.
let's tie in the paint program and the color pops that we're doing.
Right.
Let's start with the bench shell and lead by example.
Right.
And that can inspire, the energy out. And so, I want you to keep sharing that in a way that will lead us to
Inspire change.
Yeah, totally.
Let's get it changed so you can get some photos.
When I first met Josh, I told him I wanted it to be TikTok to sponsor and paint it all black. He looked at me like I was crazy.
And look what TikTok has become now.
It would
right?
attract- yeah, exactly.
The thing is, to be honest
Visionary.
with you, Josh, TikTok is very young people are making TikToks on the beach constantly. It's a very popular location to make TikToks. I was talking to Max, the podcast studio owner. He's doing a social media content creator packages, and maybe we're going to do content creator hotels even in Hollywood to even encourage that more, which I really think would be incredible for marketing. Let me also, just one other thing about Margaritaville. Bill, the guy that runs the surf thing, right? But he gets a lot of feedback of people recognizing him from my TikTok constantly.
Oh, really?
So he says, he told the marketing department, he says, well, why don't you share some of these videos? You can share them for free on Instagram. We hate Will Candace. He's a troll. And, this is my reputation, Josh. So I think the theater, honestly, it's like As the World Turns, Hollywood's version. But they're just like holding against me for making those videos exposing that they're not doing their job. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion.
Margaritaville does have the maintenance responsibility under their agreement, and it just was repainted and actually, some improvement made to the facade and to the soffit and things.
Yeah.
I think the roof was retreated to make it waterproof, and so it definitely now is better, but I do agree with you that the color should be a lot more inspired, and we could get a lot more life out of it, again, contributing design, with color treatment, and I'm going to pursue that. Thanks to you.
Wouldn't this also be the art board? I'm still learning about all the committees, but isn't this another opportunity to get some of the artists that are already involved in their opinion? It's your idea, but then like, how do we get more people behind you so it's not Will the Troll? Right. It's more like the community,
Will
full
the
of
creator,
action,
the inspiration.
Yes. More folks that have your marketing expertise and desire for the beach to be amazing, but also we've got artists in our community. My neighbor Carmen, who works out with us, is an actual professional painter. She understands color theory and teaches it. Like, how can we get more folks involved in supporting this for you?
That's a great idea. Well, the other thing we talked about too was, a more variety of music. Josh would be like, have some more progressive styles. Instead of so much, there's a heavy rock presence, and we love
classic rock on the beach. Have you seen us dance on the beach?
I've been aging out our TikTokers now.
but it would be nice to have some EDM, some kind of like electronic dance music, maybe night, or even classical music, or like a symphony. Some classic stuff.
I think that would be nice. It is sort of like a rock and roll Margaritaville reggae, R&B a little bit, pop music.
I think the R&B is good. I like that one. It was my favorite.
Salsa night, it does really well.
Oh, I don't like salsa night.
We'll get it not on your calendar.
I skipped the Sunset Club salsa night. Tyler's always invited me. He's like, come.
You don't like to sway
it.
the hips?
No. I'm very picky about my music and food.
I got you. Well, salsa's big in South Florida. We've got a lot of great international culture here, and salsa is definitely a staple of Latin music, Latin movement, Latin dance. I love it.
Yeah, but how do they, I think that's it. Like, how do they make those decisions so that if Will has, some suggestions on other types of music?
So Will is like batting 100 because that's another Margaritaville responsibility, which is to basically curate the music at the band show. They pay for it all, and they actually, run it 5 nights a week all year. And I think we're probably one of the only cities that have live music from 7 to 9 p.m. 5 nights a week in their city year round, and it's amazing. And we have sometimes over 1,000 people there. We always work very hard to activate the amphitheater at the Arts Park here downtown, but the beach has it going on every night, 5 nights a week. It's pretty amazing. But I agree. Look, jazz and symphony and orchestra would be amazing, and
or gospel even.
Yeah.
Look, do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it could be a series.
Or even daytime programming, Josh. Let's make it more active.
Great idea.
I agree with you there. Yeah. I agree, especially during the weekends when there's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, or roller skating exhibition.
Oh, yeah. When are we going to do that? Now that it's painted, I'm dying to get my dance squad up there.
They always get thrown off, Josh, basically.
Yeah.
They go up there and get out.
Yeah, we do. We appreciate the police presence.
I think Krista has to lead the fun committee.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I don't know
who
to...
that sincerely.
I've been trying to email people to say, the mayor said I could do this. Who do I get the permission to? I don't even know who to call. I think that's part of it as a new person here. Like, I love it. It's amazing. That's why I love meeting you and being a part of this, because it's like Will wants to make it better and I do too. So like, who do we call? You know what I mean? Other than not everybody can call you, Josh. You're kind of busy.
Well, I love when people call me and give me ideas. Oftentimes the ideas that I propose formally at the city commission are because people like Will and you give me ideas, and I say, hey, a resident offered this idea. What a great idea. Can I have support for the city to pursue this? And the commissioners oftentimes love the idea just as much as I do. But you're making me think. We have this Hollywood Connect app that's really more for people to report, code enforcement issues, potholes, to make the city aware of it and instantly create a work order for the city to repair something. We should probably have a field in that Hollywood Connect app for ideas. Like a free form idea, because people have creative ideas. We have so many skilled people, fun people in the city of Hollywood from every walk of life, every skill set, every profession. And they, I'm sure, would love a free form field. Do you have the Hollywood Connect app?
Yeah, I love it. You were the one that told me about it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't have too many issues to report.
Speaking of ideas, Tony.
But I got ideas.
Speaking of ideas, Tony has been recently traveling to Sao Paulo and South America. He's going to be on a dating reality show.
Really?
What?
Yeah. Yes.
You speak Portuguese?
And
Not yet.
He made an observation.
Okay.
He made an observation on his travels that I thought was appropriate in the fact that why don't we have more beach service, like these beach clubs where you can have like an order on an app, drinks brought to your lounge chair, like the Boucher Brothers. What's that? What they're called?
Boucher Brothers.
Boucher Brothers. Could they do something like that, like to enhance services for residents and visitors on the beach?
So some people would like your idea, and other people would find that idea very controversial.
Right. It would help the restaurants.
So if you would, I think the happy medium would have to be that only the beachfront restaurants could be the ones delivering on the sand.
Okay.
Because you wouldn't want to create, delivery dudes competition for the beachfront restaurants.
Right.
And because they're, renting a space and they're paying to be there, and at the same time you're undercutting them through the delivery service. So we have to respect the beachfront restaurants that need to make a living, mom and pop, right? But some people, and look, people right now they'll order from a restaurant and come back and pick it up and take it on the sand.
Right.
I think Boucher Brothers was playing with the idea of an app that would geolocate, or maybe identify which, where you were on the beach somehow, and enable that opportunity to order and get get food delivered on the sand. It hasn't been proposed formally.
Okay.
I think the one comeback that people have had against it was, well, what about, litter, and are people who are receiving food in, containers going to be responsible and put it in the trash correctly?
Right.
I think you could probably put that responsibility on the food delivery, company or the restaurant to have to close the day out, making sure that none of their, delivery products are left on the beach, at a certain time. Every one of these ideas has nuances. I don't disagree that it's a super convenient, idea for beachgoers.
Right.
It just has to be, buttoned up in a way that works for the environment and for the restaurants.
Now, speaking of tourists and doing things for tourists, one of my complaints, one of my cancel videos was about how you guys closed the tourist office in the beach. And I thought to myself, it was a $40,000 salary, I believe.
Actually, there was a legal reason for that.
Okay.
So the state of Florida restricted what CRAs could do with their money, and the beach tourism window at the Margaritaville Plaza, Johnston Street, was funded through those dollars.
Okay.
And I think it was in 2019 the state had passed some reform of CRA, requirements, and basically said that you can't spend money on marketing. And tourism promotion was one of those sort of categories that was legally restricted. So the city hadn't taken it over, and there's a discussion now at the city because some folks had asked about the window, like you, that are asking as to what's the best way for us to inform visitors of what they can do and what on Hollywood Beach. Should it be, app based, and are people using, review websites and to find restaurants and things, and is a physical person at that window the best utilization of dollars, or should we, should we use technology? Should we have a Hollywood app? So those are questions that maybe you guys can help again. Help inspire.
I heard you discussing at a meeting a possibility of having a
mobile
person. They could take selfies of pictures of tourists. That'd be really a nice service too. Like Disney
does a beach ambassador.
Like Disney does that. Well, in New York City, they put ambassadors in all the parks now, like the Visitors Convention Bureau, just to talk to you. And it's so personal. It's so great. You know what I mean? It was like just to have a personal touch. I thought that was amazing.
I love the idea too. And the city is now looking as to how we can partner with the Hollywood Beach Business Association, that if they want to help with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the idea of beach ambassadors. I'll just say that. Plainly, I just love the idea. Once in a while, a visitor will ask me a question randomly as I'm randomly at the beach, and so I know there's people with questions.
Right.
I'm sure all of our restaurants and the greeters of the restaurants have questions being posed to them. Yeah. So I think an ambassador would be good. I thought even that in the big plaza that is in front of the band shell, if there could be this mobile station, this tiki station that could even be like semi-stationary there for certain for during the day on the weekends. That could be that welcome window.
Right.
I'd rather have it be in a little kiosk in the middle and by the natural stream of people along the Broadwalk than that window by the bathroom. Right? Yeah. Wouldn't you agree? The kiosk would be better.
I think out in the public would be better.
Yeah. And the funny part is we probably have residents who'd want to volunteer as ambassadors during the week because they love Hollywood so much. Krista,
I'll take
right?
the first shift.
Right? And we probably don't even have to necessarily have to pay for an employee. Like it could be a volunteer-based
100%.
You know.
Well, we're going to have Tony be the welcome committee
That's
for the young women, I think.
That's your idea, but I'll do it.
Tony's going to be the welcome committee for the young single women coming tourists.
Yeah,
we've already established
Tony,
that
perfect.
for the boot camp. That's his job in the boot camp.
Tony's got 7P to 9P at the welcome window with all the bars. Hey, I get off at 9.
Tony only takes those hours.
Tony's at the welcome window. That's a good. I think that would work.
It's great. I think I like the blend of the human aspect and like Tony's recommendations during his hours, but also the innovation. Don't go to Nick's. You're not going to meet your match. Not during these hours. Right. But I like the opportunity to bring more innovation. I think that's like a really nice blend of this area that we can be thinking about technology and how, people, by the way, are already looking on TikTok for recommendations. Some of my goddaughters just got here and they've already been.
They use it for search now.
They do use it for
search. All
the
spring breakers mentioned they saw my food reviews. They were like, we recognize you as the food reviewer, Mr. Candace.
Oh, wow. Right. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Listen, Josh, so one of the reasons we're doing this podcast is also we wanted to try and figure out ways to bridge Broward County, the other cities, and how we can all come together as a collective and make the county better. Now, when I worked back in 2005, 2006, 2007 with Mara Galante, the mayor, as a consultant, I put forth a lot of creative stuff. I was working with a lot of really creative people in New York, and we put together a lot of ideas for Hollywood. And a lot of them would be struck down basically by saying the Broward County would never go for this. And I always thought to myself, well, why? Because we're all partners and we should collaborate together. So one of the ideas that I brought up, and I think I brought up to you several times too, is sort of the Westlake Nature Park and how I feel that it is underutilized and how it could become like a really beautiful place for tourists to spend time or to hang out, or we could be doing something more interesting with like a flamingo petting zoo or a giraffe like they have in Palm Beach and Sarasota. You get all these like Instagram stuff.
Attractions.
Social media posts with like a giraffe or with like flamingos. We should have that in Hollywood.
I love that idea.
Such a good idea.
But is this something that's like totally off the table because Broward County would be like, no way, we're never helping. We don't want to make the park better.
I wouldn't say so. In my experience, the Broward County Parks Manager, his name is Dan West, has been always super creative with welcoming ideas. And the way it needs to start is with someone proposing to run that, because the park system itself is not going to be, the one getting the flamingos and managing the flamingos. But if someone had a concession idea like that, and they had space in the park that could accommodate it, I found them to be totally receptive. I mean, when you look at the Broward County Parks website and look at the variety of activities that you can enjoy at Broward County Parks, everything from remote control airplanes to mountain biking to fishing to you name it, across the county park system. There's ski ricks in. There's a lot of imagination and out of the box willingness of the county park system to do something. I think honestly that they need people like you that are going to pitch ideas, and even beyond that, actually, be able to make the idea happen. In other words, they need proposals and partners. Look at them as like the property owner that is willing to have ideas there. But Westlake Park could contribute more. It's a nature preserve in a lot of ways.
It's close to the beach.
Mangrove walks, right?
Yeah.
Lookout tower. They have you can rent a kayak and enjoy the Westlake waterways and things of that nature.
Right.
There's a path on the south side of Sheridan Street that a lot of people are not familiar with.
It's rocky.
It's rocky. Yeah. You can't really bike it too much. I tried.
It's hard.
I want to try.
It goes a pretty far distance.
It would be nice to pave that or put wooden trail or something would be nice, Josh, over there. That's
Or if it's not wood, you can roller skate it.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'll tell you, sounds like Will needs to join the Parks Advisory Board.
Will is the mayor of Broward County. He'll hire all of us.
Well, I think it's really interesting to note that you're bringing a park on the exterior perimeter of the golf course, because that's already been done where I'm from. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware, and that gave such a big boom to the actual golf course that the LPGA came there.
Wow.
And now it's an LPGA golf course. All these women come, they compete, and it's such a great time.
That's awesome.
I think that's such a great thing with the park system.
Because of the path.
Because of the path, because it put more eyes on it, and it was beautiful. And coming back to, redesigning the golf course with the trees and everything, that's a must. You have to take out the trees to put in new trees to make it a world-class facility.
Right.
Well, if the trees are invasive, especially.
Yes, that's what I was going to say about these.
Also, Josh, what I love about knowing Josh is that he knows all the 411 on everything, right? No, you can ask him anything, he'll know it. But they're doing all this.
That's the app.
For the last 4 years, I've been working on Westlake.
I have to work in the kiosk at the beach, so I'll
You
be
get the first shift.
beach
I'll
ambassador.
take the second one.
Now, the Westlake Park, the Army Corps of Engineers has been working for the last 4 years, putting all those concrete things, and is that all resiliency-based rehabilitation? They're removing invasive species. They removed a couple of the pine trees I thought were really beautiful. I kind of missed them, but I understand. I talked to the construction manager about what they were doing. I was really fascinated. Well, what are they doing, Josh? I'm just kind of curious.
So what you're referring to are some nodes of clearing invasives and improving coastal habitat that is on the intracoastal side of the waterway.
Okay.
And that is a mitigation project that's part of Port Everglades mitigation responsibility. So as we, expand the berths of the port for cruise ships and cargo ships to, help facilitate the activity of South Florida, both in trade and in cruise, that requires, mitigation through environmental standards. And it's nice that we partnered with the port to make them aware that they can invest those mitigation dollars in the waterways of Hollywood. Of course, it's the county park,
right?
But nonetheless, it's investments in our backyard. Otherwise, they would have had to improve and mitigate the environment elsewhere with their mitigation responsibility and their dollars.
Right.
And so, in the end, just imagine that it is a way to protect the mangrove habitat of those areas. In a way that encourages better water flow, removes invasives, and creates habitat for different fish and different wildlife.
Again, planning for the future.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, and also the beach sand renourishment. What about that? That was a recent project.
Yeah,
for us
so
as well, right?
so we now have a new extended beach thanks to the
North
renourishment
Beach.
project, North Beach,
Beautiful.
and the hot spots to the south as well by the Diplomat Beach Resort and things of that nature, Hallandale and Dana Beach and Hollywood.
Okay.
What was called Phase 3. These are always 15 years in the making. They sporadically happen, 10 years every 10 years or so. But I'd say what's more exciting than even the load of sand that we got on the beach, which was necessary, the cause of the need for the renourishment is that the rock jetties that are coming out of to protect the channel for the seaport, Port Everglades, they block the natural flow of sand down the Florida coastline that would come to Hollywood Beach is blocked by those rock jetties. So that's why you have a super wide beach north of the jetty and a super sand starved beach south of the jetty. And so yes, that requires the renourishments, but now because those are expensive and we want a more local and more frequent opportunity to renourish sand, the county and the federal government are funding basically the digging of, imagine a big pit in the ocean that's north of the jetty where the sand is going to flow and collect.
Right.
And every few years, once that pit fills up, we can vacuum sand out of that and bring it to the south part of the beach, Hollywood, Dana Beach, Hallandale, and have a local source for renourishment.
Love it.
That's not going to be a 100,000 square yard kind of renourishment source,
right?
But it's going to have a consistent quantity that we are allowed to dredge locally here, and that is supposed to it's supposed to begin construction in the next few months. What's held it back now a little bit is they discovered some endangered conch shell there, so they have to figure out how to move the conch safely and take care of the natural sort of habitat there. But it's going to happen, and it's been a long time in the making.
Awesome.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep. So that's future oriented beach renourishment, like you're saying. Everything is for the future.
Right. Well, it looks great, the new beach, especially North Beach, because it was really eroding for a long time, and now now we're back on the beach. Josh, you won Best Beach 2024. At the beginning of the year, I saw you at the boot camp. You were like, my marketing team's going to be all over this. I haven't seen anything, Josh. I'm going to put you on the hot seat again. And I went to the airport recently.
I got a Sun Sentinel article out of it, right? When I posted it. And certainly a lot of Hollywood residents took a lot of pride. But I agree with you. We need to do a better job of highlighting the city's strengths. We do have a marketing budget.
It's pretty big. It's like $300,000, right? Something around that number.
So we spend a lot of it more on economic
development
and business growth and attracting small business to Hollywood, more so than we do the travel market, because look, Hollywood Beach sees, I think some estimates say 7 million visitors a year. It's a very busy beach. The hotels are doing well. They contribute to the Visit Lauderdale, fund in terms of that's the main marketing arm of Broward County, which we contribute to, right? 18% of the dollars is generated by Hollywood hotels. And so, we don't want to duplicate those efforts. We can't, with our, small amount of dollars, do what the $10 million marketing budget of Visit Lauderdale is doing, in the global market.
Right.
So we can't do everything on our own. I think we do need to work more closely with Visit Lauderdale to help give them content on what to push.
Yes.
Okay. But look, the number 4 ranking on TripAdvisor is going to be there in front of people that visit TripAdvisor and are looking for the best ranked beaches, and it's going to stay there, right?
Have you considered reaching out to them and letting them host like a travel summit here in Margaritaville?
That's another great idea.
Yeah.
Your marketing department should have been on that, Josh.
I gotcha.
And I wanted to show
Sounds
this.
like Will should be our marketing.
I wanted to show you this
100%. We're the
picture, too.
liaison consultant.
The Everglades Park, literally has branded the entire airport. And there's not one ad for Hollywood or welcome to visit Florida or.
It's pretty silly.
But I find it hard to believe that this Everglades holiday boat, the
airboat tours.
They have literally every ad on every terminal, all 4 terminals. They have every ad.
It is.
And I've been seeing this for 20 years since I've been traveling here. Now, to me, it says I was talking to Tony about this, that the ad rep, this is a small company. If they can afford to do the whole airport, I think that Hollywood could have one banner saying we're the best beach 2024.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, how much do you know what the airport advertising protocols are, or Visit Lauderdale with branding the airport? Is this like an oversight? What happened?
I love the idea, Will. I think you're right that a more broad collection of destination opportunities ought to be featured at the airport and not necessarily too much for one of them. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this one is they pay it themselves. I think that's my opinion.
They must. Yeah.
Well, they've been there for 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the ad rep, the airports are such for marketing. They're like prime. They're upscale people. They're dwelling for a long time. I mean, and Broward owns the airport, so I don't think you'd have to pay even. No, I mean.
They run it as an enterprise, so you probably have to pay an advertising fee.
Well, if they can afford to do the whole airport, Josh, I think we can afford.
I think Visit Lauderdale, as an example, and it could be Hollywood directly, but Visit Lauderdale could, and I'm going to bring this up. I serve on the Tourism Development Council, and I'll bring up the idea of advertising, the destination's highlights at the airport. It's a genius. I mean, it's so straightforward. I shouldn't call it genius, but it's
obvious.
It's obvious. That's a better word. It's an obvious. Hey, let's take advantage of.
You go to LaGuardia. I mean, the other fact too about our tourism statistics that I've been looking into is that the biggest route from FLL, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Airport, is LaGuardia. And it turns out that if you look at the statistics, 85% of those people go to Miami. And I was a part of that crowd for 20 years. I would stay 2 days with my mom in Hollywood and couldn't wait to go to South Beach, to the hotel. But I had to make the stop in Hollywood because my mom was here. Yep. But, what I'm saying is I think there's an opportunity, and I know that the Visit Lauderdale recently spent $1 million on a Rose Bowl parade at the beginning of the year, a float. Yeah. And that money I felt could have been, instead of giving it to California, the state of California, it could have been maybe hire college students to be brand ambassadors, handing out brochures or waters to these New Yorkers and say, hey, give Broward County a second look on your visit next time. Yeah. And this money would have been recirculated into the economy, and it just would have been a better use of spent money, in my opinion.
I gotcha. Well, I'll tell you, we have higher visitorship than ever before, both in Broward and in Miami-Dade County.
Right.
And we're blessed about that. People, aspire to visit South Florida. We live here, and I don't think appreciate how much people, year round from around the world and around the country, especially, aspire to say, oh, gee whiz, I want to come to Florida. I can't wait to get to Florida.
That's right.
But you look, so I think we share in the share of those visitors.
Right.
Hollywood Beach is booming in terms of visitorship. Mm-hmm. We offer a unique product or a unique experience that's very different than Miami Beach and different from Fort Lauderdale. I like personally to position Hollywood Beach as a flip-flops, eco-friendly, family-oriented beach that ought to be as crisp and clean and as natural and as beautiful and as embracing as a beach could be, and in our own unique Hollywood flavor. Mm-hmm. And so we definitely have something unique to offer here, and it's not as if it's not known. Believe me, I mean, with all the thousands of people that are on the beach every day and the visitors, Hollywood Beach is on the map. It's not a secret. It's not lacking visitorship. But you always have to keep things fresh. And you're right. We can't let anything deteriorate.
Right.
And it needs to stay a quality destination and one that you'd be proud that anywhere you take a photo should be something that you should be, as the mayor, be proud to show.
Yep.
And not have something be run down. And that's where we're limited a little bit sometimes because we don't own the private property.
Right.
And if the private property owner and the storefront owner or the restaurant owner hasn't changed their furniture in 30 years and it's a stained table or a chipped table or the same plastic chairs for 20 years,
right.
We can't control that. But I go above and beyond and try to inspire the restaurant owner. Hey, when's the last time you refreshed your restaurant? You could probably pick up more business of people strolling on the Broadwalk if you were to refresh your furniture, your decor, let's pick it up a notch. Yeah. Maybe they don't realize that their place is looking tired. So I think that's a challenge, Will, that here we are, a 100-year-old city, soon to be next year. We need to keep things fresh and well presented. Right. Especially for our centennial year. I take a lot of pride in that. That's the paint program that we have for the Broadwalk, is to make the city be able to shine as bright and as proud as it can be. Right. Especially on the Broadwalk, where we have most of our visitorship and downtown. So our centennial year could be really one where we can be very proud of.
Now, continue on the beach topic. Curated events on the beach, Josh. Okay, Palm Beach embraces them. The sort of the picnics and the weddings and the proposals and the sound baths and the beach boot camps. But, it seems like they're kind of being pushed out of Hollywood. I know the sound bath was pushed out. And if I look at the marketing plans in Miami and Palm Beach, and I look at the ones in Broward County, in Miami and Palm Beach, it was very focused on coming up with transformational events. And in my opinion, the sound bath or the Hollywood Beach Boot Camp, those are transformational events that would be very appealing to the New York tourists coming from LaGuardia Airport.
I love it too.
If they knew that was going on once a month or once a week or whatever. But instead, I mean, and I think that's just because of, the history or whatever, that things are dated or whatever. But the sound bath went from 30 to 300 people on North Beach. And then eventually the police moved them to Dania. Now they just sent you the thing. They got moved. They just got asked to leave Dania now. Oh, no. And I spoke with Dania Joyce Davis. I'm friendly with her since I'm promoting Seaview at Dania. Sure. And she's very interested in maybe having Dania step up and sponsor it. But I really think that it would be something at the Hollywood Beach Theater, once a month for the sound bath, whatever. I mean, it would cost us maybe $3,000 or $4,000 a month. I think that's what they make, charging $23 for 300 people.
So we have a program now, and actually it was inspired by the Guzzo fitness community workout, and other people who wanted to host events. You'd have residents complaining that people were charging money or $10 for someone to participate in an activity that sort of uses an exclusive part of the beach for themselves, for their business opportunity. So what we did was we did create 3 locations on the beach, one at the north end, one by Margaritaville, and one at the south end, where people could reserve time to have their sound bath, have their workout, have their yoga, and all the different activities through a permit with the city, a registration. And if you're charging money for attendance, because we didn't want to charge a flat fee because you don't know if 5 people are going to attend or 20, I think the city fee is equivalent to a 20% share of whatever revenue comes in. So it's a revenue share sort of fee structure as opposed to a flat fee. So it lets everybody start, and even if you have one person, $5, but great, you're seeding something. You're beginning a new activity. So the sound bath has a total opportunity to reserve one of those locations for the time of the month or the time of the week and the hour and the daytime that they want. And have that. So
that's a great idea. Yeah, I'll reach out to them.
That's how Tyler does it now with the workouts. We're official.
No, but you're missing my point, Josh. I think the point is, I think that the city, you guys talk in the meetings about wanting the neighborhood to connect with one another. You talk about them wanting to meet one another. This is the type of events that we meet people at. So you shouldn't be trying to we can charge and we'll take a percentage. Just pay the $5,000 a month or whatever.
Oh, you're saying pay the flat fee at the city.
And give to the residents, Josh.
Have it be a program of the Parks Department.
Yeah. Right. One of the complaints is that, it feels like the city works for a lot for developers, but doesn't work for the residents or small businesses. So this would be something like giving back to the residents. You know what I mean? Here's a sound bath once a month. I mean, you could, like I said, I know the reason I gave you a hard time about Save Our South Floor is because I can see that it's hard to get a new event started. You know what I mean? Like it's almost
it costs a lot of money.
Yeah, I understand, but like there's certain events you canceled recently, like Christmas events that weren't so robust, giving you the return on investment. Maybe I think you canceled a few different events, you rearranged something. But
we're actually doubling down on Christmas. We have an annual tree lighting that was just a tree lighting.
Okay.
And we had Santa come up, and then after the kids and the families take a picture with Santa, there was nothing else going on in the park. And actually, one of our commissioners, through I think an idea of an event goer,
right,
said, hey, why don't we make this into like a big family night, because all the families are here to take a picture with Santa,
right,
and let's have a slide down the slope of the amphitheater. Let's have music playing at the amphitheater and make it a whole like winter wonderland. That should be the fun, awesome night to do it.
Right.
So yeah, we're getting better. We want to welcome people, obviously. Right. I want our parks department to have better programming. I agree with you.
Right.
We ought to innovate and have better and more programming.
Right.
We have more pickleball courts now. We have a new skate park coming in. We've got the golf courses coming in.
Yeah.
We are hiring a new. You'll be happy about this because you're all about marketing, Will. We are hiring a new an added person to our marketing department to focus on social media.
Okay, great.
They're coming from a neighboring city that I'll leave unnamed in case the HR is not official yet.
Okay.
But you're going to be very happy. They're going to step up our social media game. I agree with you. It needs to be more creative, more fun, more far-reaching. All that you're saying with how much better we can get, and I agree. And the city's turning 100, and 100 years from now, it's going to have ways that it needs to continue getting better.
Right.
So the job is never done.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Josh, there has been a little bit of controversy during your 8 years as mayor, and that would come from the 1301 Community Center project that was going to maybe be a condo with a public-private partnership, like that would share in revenue, which I know obviously money is important to make things happen and sponsor sound baths and things like that. We need money.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But tell us the story on that, the background, and what's the status right now?
Yeah, so look, a lot of our residents felt very strongly that they didn't like the private part of that public-private partnership. The public part would have been a new beach community center overlooking the ocean to rival, some of the quality public spaces that you highlight, like in Fort Lauderdale and things of that nature. Would have had some good covered parking, even more green space. But people felt like the private component, which would have been the residential building along A1A, was too much of a price to pay, even though we would get all those public amenities without costing the taxpayers $1. And beyond not costing $1, it would have brought in probably over $50 million of cash, of money that we could maybe then apply to the state of Florida and have matching grants, and even then maybe have $100 million to address the flooding and the resiliency needs of the city that are across the board. And so you had me as a mayor and 4 other city commissioners who thought that in the balance of all the needs of the city of Hollywood and the lack of opportunity to, raise funds for the public improvements that the city needs for stormwater and what have you, that are not taxes on residents, this was the one way to create a huge windfall of dollars that could be, generationally improve a lot of the city with, again, dollar figures that you could never otherwise raise. So we really had a big struggle with that decision on knowing how deep and how far the needs of the city are citywide, 30 square miles to take care of, and having a way to fund that. And this created an opportunity to really, again, create dollars that we could never otherwise create. But admittedly, there was a lot of heartache about the private component being the similar height of the buildings next door, which were two existing towers, the Summit Towers. We're next to this property. This is, south of the Broadwalk. It's, more towards the Diplomat, and where, the tall buildings already have existed in Hollywood since the 1980s and 70s.
Right.
So there was some argument to make of, hey, sure, it's a tall building. Yes, of course, myself as mayor and all of us love the low-rise, character of Hollywood Beach along the Broadwalk, and we all protect that. We've had a 65 and a 55-foot height limit there for many years, and during my time as mayor, we haven't built one tall building on Hollywood Beach and along the Broadwalk. I love that about our beach as well. We're going to preserve and protect that. So long story short, that project proposal was about 2 years ago. We approved the business agreements of what would be the business agreements. But as I said in the meeting, for the next phase of that project, if it were to come to actually pass muster, it had to be like a demonstration project that could be a resiliency demonstration for the whole world on how you build on a beach in a manner that's resilient for the future in terms of sea level rise, stormwater mitigation, energy efficiency. Like if we're going to use our public space to host this, it better be a demonstration that we all could showcase to the world and rise to that, sort of like level. So that was my challenge to the partner. And here 2 years passed by and they haven't brought back that product. And so the clock is ticking. It's going to end soon on their timetable. If you ask me, it's not going to come to where we need it to be. And if that's the case, that's why actually when one of our commissioners proposed, looking forward already, hey, we still need to take care of this community center because we know that project's probably not going to happen, right? And so I supported the idea of looking at the community center and, how do we maintain this and have it be as contributing. That community center was the sales building originally of the Summit Towers that have existed since the 1980s. Mm-hmm. And it's on the beach and it doesn't have one window and it's like not the best placement of a community center that, ought to take advantage of the natural environment and have windows to the ocean, and imagine that you're having a family party over there, a quinceañera, a wedding, you name it, a bar mitzvah. It could be a much better community center over there.
Right.
So look, I think we ought to look at the next level community center for there. It doesn't have to include this public-private partnership. A lot of heartache. Mm-hmm. I don't wake up in the morning dreaming of that, and so. I'm happy to accommodate the needs of the desires of the residents to want to keep it low scale and natural, and it's all good. It's all good. We thought we had a good proposal that if it were to come in the form that I mentioned to you, be a good demonstration resiliency project that would be complementary, that it could be a good thing and create a lot of added opportunity for the city to fix a lot of things in the entire city. But look, some things work out and some things don't, and I learned lessons too.
Okay, Josh, a little bit of controversy surrounding 1301 and the new community center and the extra tax dollars, but what's the status now? It's not happening, right?
No, so that was 2 years ago, and we challenged the private partner to present us with a demonstration project that would be something we could be proud of for the beach. That doesn't seem to be coming forward, and so we've already are looking forward and beyond, and actually supported a motion by one of our commissioners to look at the existing community center. It needs some repair and things, and kind of make it as welcoming and as refreshed as could be. So we're moving beyond it. The project had its benefits to, like with a new community center overlooking the ocean, would have generated a lot of dollars that we could have invested in fixing the stormwater needs of the cities that are big, ticket items. We have a lot of challenges, whether it's homelessness, you name it. This could have funded a lot of things that is not on the tax, on the backs of the taxpayers. Right. But I understand that people, would rather, leave the community center, as it is, and prefer that we don't pursue the public-private partnership, and I'm fine with that. We'll move forward.
One compliment I got to give you too, Josh. I noticed in the meetings you do a very compassionate approach toward homelessness in Hollywood. It's really amazing, and I just wanted to give you a compliment on that.
Well, thank you. I mean, we've been doing more than ever as a city for homelessness. Everything from having outreach workers, reach out to homeless people and actually try to help get at the root of what their issue is, or unite them with families, or get them connected with services that are available throughout the county. We work a lot more closely with the Caring Place, which is a church-run shelter that helps get people back on their feet. We have reserved beds there now for Hollywood police to help take people that find themselves on the street. Okay. And we also understand that some folks need to understand that even if they're homeless, they can't violate our laws. Right. And that's where we have the community court that we brought to Hollywood, similar to Fort Lauderdale. Okay. I worked with the chief judge to bring that over to our city, and now we have an opportunity where through the community court in Hollywood, we are able, through right there in the courtroom, the judicial system refers these homeless folks to the services they need that are right there in the courtroom, that instead of getting put in jail, they will agree to, seek the services, and right then and there, right. Whether they need, job training, mental health counseling, addiction, services, housing, of course, are all right there. Okay. And so we're doing a lot more. We're really helping to change people's lives, 1, 10, and 20 people at a time. And it only gets better. And of course, we want to make sure that people, don't live on the street. We don't want people camping out on our public spaces either. And there's a whole new state law that requires cities throughout the state to not allow public lodging and makes it a criminal offense.
Right.
And so, or otherwise, the city could be liable
Right.
for even in private damages
Right.
by, say, a property owner that says the city is not, not removing this person from sleeping, in the public way. The city could be held liable in a court of law
Right.
for it's a new law effective October. So
Okay.
we've been taking it seriously. We want to help people, but we also want, some folks who live outside are choosing to do so despite the services that are available. And some of them commit some, petty crimes, and we don't want to tolerate that for our society either.
I noticed that you and your family went to California on Instagram. Did you notice, have any takeaways? You see they're cleaning up the homeless problem there? What did you notice?
Well, that trip was a number of years ago, but
I thought it was recent. I was confused. I thought you went to California on vacation.
no, I think what you might have seen like a couple of days ago was my wife and kids went to the Bahamas to Atlanta.
Okay, all right, I got confused.
No homeless people there. They stayed. They stayed only at Atlantis and did things like swim with the dolphins, and they had a sea lion attraction. And they did the water slides. They loved it. I had to stay back and work.
All right, now listen.
Thank you.
Now, Josh, Krista,
Overtime, by the way.
Krista and Tony are relatively new residents, and me and you, we have a long history here. But I wanted to go around each of us and ask each one of us what we love most about Hollywood, Florida, number one. And number two, what's our favorite restaurant and our go-to order menu items, which I know everybody has
We
their
have to
favorites. And it's
choose.
just kind of like to see what people's tastes are like. So I'll go first.
Depends on the night of the week.
Right.
So the thing I find amazing about Hollywood is I feel that Hollywood has like a small town vibe to it, and like I said, the number one attraction is the biking on the beach. It's just the most incredible experience, unmatched, and I love this sort of like the small town friendly vibes of it, and as far as restaurants go, in downtown, it's Go Bistro, spicy tuna roll. And on the beach, it's Mermaid Queen, the fish tacos. Okay. Tony, you go.
Still got to go.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Mermaid Queen, I think that's one of the newest Mexican restaurants.
They
on
kill
the
it.
beach.
I love them.
I met the owner myself. I take my mother there all the time. And
Diego?
I believe it's
Jenny.
Jenny.
Is that when we're having our next
I met
meeting?
Jenny and Diego. We should.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mom and pop, wife and husband.
Okay.
Have you been to Mermaid Queen, Josh?
Yeah, well, honestly, I admit I haven't been. I can't wait because I've heard so much about it. But I met Jenny the other day.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, best crunch taco I've ever had.
Okay.
Hands down.
Best name of restaurant.
And the steak taco, he said, is really good.
Yeah,
yeah?
I'm a steak guy. I love the steak tacos.
I love tacos.
Yeah,
period.
it's amazing.
God.
Yeah.
All right, Krista, let's.
Your
your favorite
I was
thing
like,
about
I can-
Hollywood?
Oh, I mean,
hungry now.
there's so many things to pick from Hollywood. I was introduced to Hollywood almost 10 years ago by my friend Jared Shapiro. Shout out to Big Jared. He parked at the end of the street and told me, just get out, go look around. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I go out into the broad walk and I'm walking around. I'm like, this is absolutely incredible. And I walk out into the sand. It's literally the cleanest sand I've ever been on. I've been to every beach in Florida. I've lived in a bunch of different beach communities, and from the water to the sand, it's top tier. And that's my favorite thing is the cleanliness of it and the vision that's going forward. Everyone's trying to get pulled up into Miami or Fort Lauderdale, but Hollywood is a good community for people to come from all over the country and get accepted into a real lifestyle that's actually really sustainable. Whereas Miami and Fort Lauderdale might be a little bit too big for their britches sometimes.
I agree. That's a good
Well said.
assessment. Yeah.
Yes.
Krista?
That's my answer.
No, you
Plus
love
one.
you love the skating, Krista. You're the
Of
skating.
course. No, I moved here because I roller skated on what is it, the Broad Walk?
It's the Broad Walk.
Okay.
On this side of the room is the boardwalk, but
I don't know. I thought it was a typo when I first moved here. It's like they need a new marketing director.
There needs to be a game show right there at the band show. Broadwalk or Boardwalk? Right?
That could be fun, or everyone's new answers on what the reason is. I moved here because I roller skated on it one day when I was first down here, and I fell in love. I've been coming to Fort Lauderdale and Miami for 20 plus years and never knew about this amazing beach. So I'm a fan, but I moved to downtown And I had no idea. I had no idea about downtown. So while I love the beach and I love that I can bike there and roller skate there and the community and the beach that you're talking about, I've totally fallen in love with Hollywood because of the walkability for downtown. All the small businesses have welcomed me like family. So I know a lot of the owners too. It's hard to decide what my favorite is because everything's so amazing. I love all the newness that's coming in and I love being involved. I love that I'm able to do this after just being here for 2 years because everyone's so welcoming. So it's not one thing. It's hard to choose. I'm going to say for me, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. It's Wasaka.
Okay.
For me.
Osaka.
Oh, is it though?
Yeah.
Osaka?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Osaka?
So go ahead. Go
Because
ahead.
I thought it was Oaxaca plus the Saka.
Yeah.
So I thought the Wa was Oaxaca because
like the
it's
Broad
Mexican
Walker
Asian.
Broadwalker.
But what does Caesar? How does Caesar say
There's
it?
a city in Mexico called Oaxaca, and then Osaka is Osaka, Japan,
Right.
and it's Mexican Asian
Right.
fusion. But
Right.
I
So
think,
how do you pronounce there?
I always thought it was Oaxaca, but it's Osaka. It's pronounced
Okay.
Osaka.
And I thought it was Wasaka or because of the okay.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
I know what you're talking about. I was so confused when you mentioned that name.
I thought it
didn't know what
started
you were
like
talking about.
Oaxaca. Okay.
I thought it was
Caesar,
Might have to
sorry.
finish
Sushi restaurant.
Caesar will get mad at me later. We'll recut it.
Well,
What
he's
is
the,
it?
He's the guy that
Oa-
owns JNC,
Osaka.
right?
JNC Oyster, yeah.
Yeah, so JNC Oyster. Right. Osaka?
Yeah.
So my favorite restaurant is Osaka.
Okay.
When I first moved here, I went there because I didn't have internet in my apartment, and I made friends with all the folks there. The food is absolutely amazing. It's the tuna bowl for me, but they also can customize it. You can have more lettuce, more the drinks that they have there, absolutely amazing.
Super craft drinks, and he really procures like the best ingredients. Like the tuna, especially, is like the highest end tuna you can get.
It's consistently amazing.
Yeah.
And I love the team there. I learned about the owners.
You know,
were
they
open.
started at the Yellow Green Farmers Market
Yeah.
as a Mexican food booth at the farmers market, and grew into one of the businesses that grew from the farmers market.
We didn't
to,
even
to a
talk
brick
about the
and
Yellow
mortar.
Green Farmers Market, the incubator that is for our community and the uniqueness. I love bringing people from out of town there.
I hate paying
But
for parking though. There. Ooh.
Really, see, I don't mind. But I've literally,
Ride your bike there, Will.
I guess
I
I
actually
could, right?
will. Yeah, we'll meet you there on the bike.
That's a good idea. Or Uber. I could
Right.
save $10.
No, I mean they were not only do they have the most amazing fresh food and the quality is consistent, but the folks that work there are like family to me, really. And their new project, JNC Oyster, is absolutely amazing. It's unique and delicious and an amazing experience every time. So I have to choose them.
Wait, before we get to Josh, I have a quick question before I forget, Josh. The circuit ride, okay, in Miami and Fort Lauderdale it's free, but in Hollywood it's $1.50. Why?
So I will tell you, sometimes you have people who abuse the system, and if it's free, you can have a lot of free loaders, and some of those folks are created issues for the system.
Okay.
And so we had to change the model a little bit to make it still super reasonable and a no-brainer in terms of its ease and its affordability.
Okay.
But at the same time, not have people who want to just ride all day.
Gotcha.
And abuse it.
Because I think it's, like I said, we're trying to think of ways to make it better for tourists and residents, but for them to have easy access from Margaritaville to downtown is, I think, critical, right?
Yeah.
It's a really important part.
So I'll tell you, transportation just in general, we have a new community shuttle that's going to have a route that's going to include downtown and the beach. That's a Broward County transit operated system.
Right.
It's not going to be an on-call like the ride circuit is, but it's going to complement the micro transit.
Right.
And so we're improving, and we didn't even mention the train, of course, that we're bringing.
Station.
We're bringing the train to downtown Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's going to be in a few years.
Well,
so
that, Josh, I think
a lot of mobility
Yeah.
improvements.
is
Very
a result of all that your other bond programs and kind of bringing Hollywood up because other cities were vying for that train station.
Yeah,
correct?
I worked on it pretty hard.
Yeah, it's a great accomplishment. Because obviously now she's getting an apartment downtown.
Well, wait, I'm still shopping. That's why I'm like, okay, let's pause this amazing stuff until I buy.
right. But now your question about what makes Hollywood special and fun to me, and you guys touched on exactly all of it. It's the combination of the hometown character and the people. It's us who make us feel like this is a community with friends because look at who we are and how we contribute to one another's life, and at the same time the hometown feeling that the built environment provides for us that calm, natural, tropical. Hometown feel that Hollywood has. Everything from the beach to the downtown to the neighborhoods. It all feels like home here in the midst and in the middle of this metropolitan, megalopolis that South Florida has become. Hollywood, we like to call it, is at the 50-yard line of South Florida. And just to have this amazing hometown with the most beautiful beach, be right in the center of it and have it be our home is really special. And I'll tell you, the restaurants, Will, you said it, it's hard to pick just one, right? I mean, you named some highlights, but, you know, everything from Italian to Asian to American to Mediterranean. We've got such a broad selection. I mean, for pizza, we've got Joe's Old School. We've got Moro's Pizza, Capone's. Antonio's just won #1 in the Sun Sentinel poll. Right. You name it, we've got pizza. Right. The Salvos. If I forget someone, please forgive me. But we've got amazing pizza selections here. On the Asian side, you mentioned Go Bistro. We've got Krakatoa, that's award-winning Indonesian. We've got a variety of other sushi places. A lot of favorite watering holes, everything from Ricky's to you name it. Shenanigans and Dania Beach, which is old Hollywood family, is another local favorite. Just so much. And then, of course, the Latin side of things. We've got J28 that was on Diners, Drives, Dine and Drive, is awesome with their Peruvian food. We've got Cuscatleco in West Hollywood, which is, Latin food. We've got everything from La Granja, which is a quick cash but favorite. Las Vegas is Cuban food, you name it. And so we've got such a variety here. And on the Mediterranean side, we've got such a great selection of Israeli restaurants, a lot of great Mediterranean all over the city. And so that's actually what makes South Florida unique. And we take it for granted, not understanding or realizing that if you go to, Midwest United States or other places in the southern United States, you're not going to find the international cuisine that you have here in South Florida. Right. And that's, enriches our life because, food is awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like a vibrant food community. And while I live downtown and go to the beach a lot, I go out west, and make sure that we, give those businesses some love as well. And that food really shows, is a representation of the community, and it feels inclusive and people feel welcome because there's food for everyone and from everywhere.
Well, let's ask you a personal question, Josh. Do you and your family order Uber Eats ever?
No.
No, really? Do you ever order pizza to go or you don't order takeout at home?
So we usually...
Your wife cooks?
Actually, she doesn't cook as often as I would want. Okay. But we have this amazing place. I'll plug it. It's called Marketplace on Sheridan Street, and it basically has prepared food. Yeah, that's easy. And you can get it by the pound, and it's healthy and it's clean and it's got the broadest variety. And so we'll buy our food from there, and we'll heat it up or eat it cold, depending on what it is at home. But my kids love burgers and shakes for burgers. Okay. We get sushi from a place called Saki in West Hollywood. It depends on the flavor of the week.
Have you heard of this Erewhon?
We make a lot of omelets too at home. Sorry.
Oh, we love omelets.
Have you ever heard of Erewhon Market in California, Los Angeles, Josh? Erewhon.
No.
E-R. It's a very famous upscale expensive supermarket where they incorporate a lot of social media, but everything is like extremely overpriced. But it became popular in the fitness community because of their organic selection of prepared foods. But they do like a Hailey Bieber smoothie for $28. But apparently, it's known for having very high-priced groceries, more than Whole Foods. But they've opened something similar in Boca Raton, and there's a lot of buzz on TikTok about it. But anyway, because it's like what they call an Erewhon dupe. But I don't know. When I lived in New York, that's one of the things I missed. They have these markets called Citarella and Dina DeLuca, and like very upscale prepared foods. It was just so easy to go after work and pick up something. And I wish we had something like that in Hollywood.
So our version of that is Marketplace.
Yeah.
Not as expensive.
Right.
But I'll challenge you on how awesome the food is. You'll love it.
The chicken salad's good.
Amazing.
I'm
the best.
going
And
to
the
see
tuna.
because I am a chicken salad connoisseur.
Tuna, forget about it.
Really?
And then there's Round Swamp Farm in the Hamptons. You ever heard of that? That's another. It's always on TikTok. It's like, it's like a big popular thing on TikTok, like for the expensive groceries in the Hamptons. People overpay. But
and let's not forget our friends at the Block 40 Food Hall, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. I love that there's new. I have guests in this week, and I'm like, we've got new stuff. I'll meet you at the food hall.
I think we have more restaurants in downtown Hollywood than Las Olas does.
What I like about the food hall too, Josh, it has like a very I love how it still feels old. The grand height ceilings and everything. It's really beautiful. It feels like a New York space or something. It's really cool.
It is awesome.
It's cool.
Yeah. It's really neat. Now wait a minute. You guys are saying you haven't Uber Eats to the beach?
No, I never do that.
When we were talking about it earlier.
No, I always get my food on the beach at a restaurant there.
Of course, but there's also local businesses on Uber Eats that.
Right.
Yeah.
bring it to you on the beach.
I order from Cafe Club.
Under the radar, it's fine.
I order from Cafe Club the egg sandwich a lot.
Life, liberty, and the
That's
pursuit
why I
of
was like,
happiness.
oh, is that not allowed when you were talking about it earlier?
Will they bring it on the sand?
No, you mean
You meet them at the end of the block.
I see them all the time meeting people. Yeah.
All right.
So, and I know as a small business owner previously, we needed Uber Eats and DoorDash and some of those apps in order to survive. So there's like always more opportunities with that instead of just walking.
And a lot of people have jobs delivering for those
Absolutely.
delivery companies,
Right.
and they're
100%.
making their living and feeding their family through being an Instacart driver or Uber Eats and DoorDash driver. It's that whole gig economy
Right.
is huge.
It's
huge
and it's
now.
supporting. I still see it as supporting local businesses and folks in my community when I use those
Definitely does.
innovative apps for use.
I've spoken with some downtown Hollywood restaurants, some of which we've named, and they've told me that 80% of their business is through those delivery apps. 80%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep, and very successful.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Right. So just because that's where you kind of feel like, oh, there's no one in there tonight,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that, Dos
cranking.
Pescados isn't cranking out the to-go orders.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like that balance of like what success is today too. And I think that's important in our area. Yeah. Food. We're hungry now.
Let's go to Osaka.
Ready to order some Uber Eats.
Yeah, JNC Oyster Osaka. Here we
Exactly.
go.
Well, I want to try that fried chicken. That's on the Dine Lauderdale menu right now.
I'll go with you right now.
The $35.
Yeah, fried chicken.
Let's go,
Oh,
everybody.
at the block?
At
Where?
Down the street here at JNC Oyster.
JC and Oyster.
Oh, there's a chicken. Oh.
There's a
They
fried
have a-
chicken. It's supposed
they
to be
have a fried-
amazing.
I've had the fried chicken there. It's amazing. Yeah.
It's
I'll
amazing.
eat it now
yeah.
too. Yeah.
It looked good. I saw it on TikTok. It was
Everything is
amazing.
good there. Their
Yeah.
curry, there's a curry there, and it's such a unique dish.
Right.
Delicious.
By the way, Visit Lauderdale did reach out to me about Broward County prohibits them from being on TikTok. Does Broward County prohibit Hollywood from being on TikTok as well?
They couldn't. There's no law.
Okay.
I don't know if there is a federal law that prevents government use of TikTok. It could be. I mean,
Broward doesn't allow Visit Lauderdale because Visit Lauderdale has no presence on TikTok.
I think I might have heard something in the news that there might be. I know there's legislation proposed limiting TikTok. I'd have to research that.
Yeah.
Good question.
One other quick question, on a personal note, Josh. I've noticed since I follow you on Instagram, you show up everywhere, but your wife doesn't come with you on a lot of events.
She's got to take care of the kids.
Well, but you have such.
Honestly,
a
I don't like to
schedule.
feature my family too much.
Okay, but you
I kind of keep that a little private.
Yeah.
Okay, but I got to give you credit. You show up. You're like, you know,
Yeah.
whether it's a Rotary meeting, a
100%.
community meeting. I see
If
you
I
out.
if I posted everything I did, then it would really be
Right.
crazy. I post maybe like 15% of what I do.
Well, that's it seems like you have a busy schedule. Like you don't have much personal time for yourself.
Well, I've made basically the lifestyle of being mayor. I call it a lifestyle. It's not a job. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's not part-time or full-time. It's overtime.
Okay.
But I kind of embrace it. It's part of my life, and I bring the kids over during the weekends whenever they can. Of course, during the week they have school, and I can't bring them to nighttime events because
Right.
bedtime and all that good stuff. But I try to include the family as much as I can because this way I can spend time with them.
Right.
And also, I think it's probably contributing to the kids and their experiences too. But of course, now they're becoming teenagers. They don't want to really go to the boring things that dad does, right? Sometimes I think the meetings are interesting and hey, there's a good topic. But for the kids, they look at it through the lens of 12 and 15-year-olds.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but no, I appreciate that. I want Jackie to come more often, my wife.
Okay.
We love
but-
Jackie. When
love
she comes,
Jackie.
we get
Yeah.
excited.
Jackie, you hear that?
Jackie's from New York, right?
No, born and raised in Hollywood.
Oh, she's always been in New York, though. I thought she has family there or something, right?
She has some cousins there, but no,
okay.
it's all immediate family is Hollywood, born in Memorial Hospital.
Ah, okay. I was confused because I always see her on Instagram posting in New York, so I kind of just thought there was some connection there.
No,
Her
she has
cousins.
friends there,
Yeah, and her cousin.
friends who live there. Her best
she
friend
likes going there, obviously,
Best friend
too.
Kathy lives in New York. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, Josh, I moved here. It's a love story for me about Hollywood. I've completely fallen in love, and really your leadership is the main reason why I'm staying. I don't have to. There's nothing tying me here like family or business. I can really live anywhere in the world, and it's really exciting for me to have met all of you. Thank you, Will, for doing this, and to really be firmly putting my stake down and saying, I love Hollywood and I'm staying here. And a lot of that has to do with your leadership and other leaders like the commissioners and just folks like you, Will, that are in love with this city just as much as I am and want to make it better. So thank
Josh,
you.
I got to give you a compliment
Love the
on
passion.
the commissioners too. Are all pretty diverse, interesting, with interesting opinions. But compared to other cities like Miami or Fort Lauderdale, they seem like a good group of people to work with.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody wants the best for Hollywood. That's the common denominator. And once you have everybody's, heartfelt intentions for the same goal, then and we're good people who don't mind working with one another. We'll compromise when we need. We'll appreciate others' ideas, and we have a good collegial atmosphere and discourse on the commission, different from other cities that have people at odds and a lot of fighting and tension. Thankfully, we've been businesslike and friendly, and while still certainly doing bold things for the city.
Amazing.
Usually it's 7-0 or 6-1, occasional 5-2.
Okay.
But listen, I also keep things, positive and happy and energetic. And I think, a lot of, how my demeanor is as the parliamentarian and the facilitator of the meeting helps to, generate the energy and the discourse.
Right.
And I'm a happy guy, even if we're talking about something that's, people have strong opinions about.
Right.
I still, want people to feel good about being able to talk about it and not argue, not like fighting, but just, getting to a consensus.
Yeah. Well, the hot topic on TikTok now is a trend called being demure.
So demure.
And you are very demure, Josh.
Yeah.
You always keep it cool at the meetings, and you maintain your cool. So you're very demure. You're very on point with the trends.
Totally. And one of the commissioners, I was like, should I get more involved? And one of the commissioners said it. She was like, you know what? We can be human here. And that's part of what you are modeling in your position too, which makes me want to get more involved which makes, folks like Will, want to continue to talk about this city and make it even better, because we can all be human when you are human. So thank you.
Thank you, Krista.
I thought you running for a bigger office. Is this a possibility?
Right. Listen, my final term as mayor, should I be, privileged to serve, will be over in 2028, and who knows what happens after that?
Broward Commission, maybe, or
look, anything could be possible.
Okay,
and we'll see what happens in life, right? Whether it'll be public office or not, but certainly, once you begin serving, you have the heart for it. You want to continue to do it, and people, certainly want you to. So we'll see what happens. I certainly want to see, our city, the county, the state, and the country do better. If I can contribute to that, then great.
We'll wrap up the first episode of Broward Blueprint Podcast. Thank you, Mayor Josh Levy, for talking with us, and to my co-hosts Krista and Tony, thank you. Look forward to seeing you at the Beach Boot Camp. And you too, Josh.
See you soon. Thanks, Will.
Okay, cool.